One and okay, we're here. It's 6:33. We're just a little bit late. I'm going to tweet. We're live tweet. Reply sent. The time. I already said the time. It's February 6th, Sunday afternoon. Happy Black History Month. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen to two folks talk about music that came out almost literally 10 years ago. My name is Chris Kennard, and I'm joined by my one of my very good friends, a brother from another mother, the Living Abstraction himself, aka A. Lord, aka Arkansas. Sir, how are you?
Oh man, I'm doing lovely. It's been interesting past few days. I mean, I'm doing my stuff back over in DC, but at the same time, it's always great to be here. It's always great to be here, being able to support my good man over here. And I think the last time I was here was like back in like 2020, for the
Yeah,
Catter and Kennard podcast. Once again, shout out to Catter. Love that man. He's
Big Mike, we love you, bro.
and even though it's been a while since I've been here, I love tuning in. I love contributing, whether you are talking about the Beyonce stuff with well, I think you at the time you've spoken about her first three Destiny's Child albums.
Yeah, or honestly, to be completely, it's so funny. Like the Catters, me and the Catter were having a bit of a group meeting about the future of our podcast together, and he asked about, oh, like how's Yon Singing Youth going, and honestly, I'm probably going to start that over, and because I feel like what the show was missing was a representative of the Bay Hive, and like I feel that this is a complete sidebar, but it's like in regards to Beyonce's work, seeing as she's such like a polarizing, deified, and controversial figure, it's
Mhm.
important that I have someone who understands her work and loves her work present, so I don't seem like such a hater or like a dissident to like what she's done for us and for the culture, you know?
Oh yeah, hey, I completely get that. I completely get that.
Mm,
I can, and I had seen those first few episodes, and I thought
yeah.
I thought they were some pretty interesting stuff, but I get what you mean. But I get what you mean. You like with someone like like Beyonce, if you're going to do this deep dive into their stuff, you gotta show, you do have to have the Hive representation, because the Hive's been with her from the jump. The Hive probably has their memories of going to the Destiny's Child shows, and probably bought their. I think Destiny's Child did a Christmas album back in like '01, '02.
Yeah.
They have their memories of like watching that stop motion Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer video on BET 106 in Park. I also have that memory, but I'm not in. Granted, I'm not in the Hive, but I was just watching BET back in the day. So yeah, I get what you mean, and I look forward to the future of that. You also did the Taylor Swift
Nifty shenanigans. That's hopefully going to restart when our third co-host Lil Loaf is available, because like primarily they're based in education. She's based in education and like really can't commit as much as like myself and Jasper could. So we'll see about that, and thankfully like Swift is so busy that like we'll have plenty of things to discuss when the time comes. I imagine we may just cheat a little bit and just like backtrack, because we've already reviewed Red and Swift's second album, so like we'll probably like work our way back through those projects again with like the re-releases and such. But that has nothing to do with what we're doing here. We have 24 songs to get through, and I wanted to just for like the sake of clarity and such, you
Mhm.
were last on my channel on July 8th, 2020, literally 2 years ago, in the middle of this, in the middle of summer. We are on episode 14, episode 14, the summer siesta episode, the then like season 1 finale, and a quick spoiler, if you will. Kat or Kennard is probably going to go on another hiatus, and we'll hopefully explain more when the time comes later this month.
All good, all good.
So, if you like follow myself or Arkantel here on Twitter or Facebook, I posted a link to this stream and a link to the playlist with all 24 songs. Another brief spoiler. We after having a long conversation, early one. Oh, you have something you want to say? I can see it in your eyes.
I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish first.
Certainly.
Okay.
I just wanted to let future listeners know that like you can look forward to more of this if you enjoy it, because when we discussed like the route this stream would go, there's so many like artists and songs to go through. You had the idea of saying, you know what, we need to do an honorary mentions episode, and if you would be so kind, future listeners, you probably have till March to like get your suggestions in there, like, oh, why didn't y'all talk about this? Oh, why didn't y'all talk about that? Because we know a lot happened that year across genres. So like, if you feel like you can influence us in any way, this is your opportunity right here in these comments, and in like the live chat, like, hey, what about this artist? Hey, what about that song? Because I'm sure it's going to come up as we get through this list. What do you want to say, Arkantel?
Yeah, and in our long conversation about what we've chosen, is that I think one thing listeners will probably get notice, is that a lot of what we chose was like stuff that was pretty personal to us.
Yes.
So for people who are our age, who also remember 2012, you'll probably be surprised that there's certain stuff that was all over the streets that we might not be talking about right now. Which, all the more reason, feel free to put your suggestions in the comments. And I think one reason we kind of wanted to keep it, because we wanted to keep it pretty personal. We wanted to not kind of just like clout, be on the clouds of so and so popular artists who did some stuff back then and not be phony about it. No disrespect to those artists, but we felt that it was really honest to be honest about ourselves. I mean, I'll also put myself out there and say that, hey, there are artists who I bought albums from that year that I still couldn't actually like see myself actually put in on this list. Spoiler, but I love you, Jack White, but I just couldn't see myself put in. Now, if I could put the live version of 16 Saltines you did on SNL on the list, if that was easily available, I probably would, but that I really put
not
any
for sale, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there are certain songs that listeners, you might not be into all that into. Well, okay, not all into, but you're just not that familiar with. And I hope that we can both really do a great job in letting you guys know why you should look at the songs. And hey, is my sound good at all?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, cool. So I think what we decided was that you talk about it's going to be in a pattern, so it's going to be you then me, you then me, you then me, and I think we spoken about it, and I think yes, and my last song will be like the last song we end up talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So hey, the ball's in your court. The song you want to start off this conversation on.
So we have 24 songs, 12 for 12. Let's get right into it. Song number 1, just a little background on how I decided to like pick the songs I picked. even just now, like earlier in my day, I'm like, oh, I could have picked this album or this artist, and I still can later during honorable mentions. But like, I just decided, you know what? I'm not going to overthink this. Thankfully, I listen to enough cool stuff where it's like I can just click on Wikipedia, go to 2012 albums, and pick stuff. And literally, that's what I did. I scrolled down till about, like, I thought I'll pick 2 songs from like the first half of the year. Then I'll pick 4 songs from the second quarter, 4 songs from the third quarter, and then 2 songs from like the last quarter of the year. Because I'm like, I want it to be balanced in some way, even if I'm just like scrolling down like a website. Because like I'm thinking, dang, like there's a lot of albums, lots of songs. Like how can I pick stuff that isn't just like my the songs I obsessed over? And a good chunk, and like I think all of these songs at one point or another I obsessed over. But I'm just gonna kick things off with Snake Pit by Enter Shikari from the album from the album A Flash Flood of Color, the 3rd album on Hopeless Records. And this song, like, you got something. I see that point. What's that?
Yeah. Okay. Like, well, I was gonna say that, like, listening to this song, there was something about the song that would be a constant with with the songs you picked on this list, which I once again completely mean as a compliment, where it's like, you know, and I guess a lot of these songs you can kind of classify under the post-hardcore scene.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I wear my influences on my sleeve for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
So you have these songs that start off in this area, then they kind of go into this other area, and then they come back here, and it never feels as jarring as it should. It's always, it's always.
I'm so happy about that.
Yeah, it's always like, yeah, okay, that was a trip, but it's like, all right, you guys know what you're doing. You guys know what you're doing. And that is and as soon as I listened to Snake Pit, I was like, all right, this is what I should expect. And more or less, you know, that's what like a lot of these songs kind of did. You could tell they're songs made by people who like really, hey, to V, shout out to V. You know, there are all these songs made by people who are like just really trying to let their freak flag fly in terms of what they're capable of. And I think this song completely brilliantly represents that.
Yeah, it's like I've been following Shikari for a long time. I got into them in high school. It's so funny. Like on Twitter, someone was making the case for Bring Me the Horizon being like the band in like that scene of metalcore, post-hardcore that like just like shifts the tone of the direction of bands like them. And like someone was like, no, that's not true. But I'm like, come on, y'all. Like, let's be real here. As far as like UK new school metal is concerned, who's doing it like them? And someone said Shikari. And I'm like, you're not wrong about Shikari because I love the band. But at some point, they became known as a foundational band as opposed to like a band that leads the charge. But here we are now. Like, why did I choose this song out of all like the possibilities I had for 2012? It's because like at this point in their career, like Shikari was off like the major label. They were signed to Interscope for their second one, Common Dreads, but they're Hopeless now. And it's like, how do we just like, for me, it's like, oh, like, how do we still show the kids we still got it? Because like not a lot of bands can seamlessly blend various forms of electronic dance music and it not be stilted, like say Abandon All Ships, Attack, or even Asking Alexandria from the first album. You know, it's like they do this like dance shit for real. Electronic music comes naturally to them. You know, I'm pretty sure half the band are DJs. And so like you have elements of like drum and bass and just like straight up just like meat-headed breakdowns where like Rao does like the mosh call of yeah we're nice guys until we're not, and like elbows start flying in the pit. It feels it there are appropriate transitions, and like I feel like I didn't choose like Gandhi Make Gandhi or like say Arguing with Thermometers because I wanted something that felt I don't know, like, because like, you know, like there's gang vocals, there's not as much political discourse in this song like most of their other records are, It's just like, come and join the party. That's what this song is about. You're gonna wait. This song is your shot, is your espresso shot. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm very just like, there's lots of wubbity wubs, and like there's like a bit of like humor there when like they manipulate Rao's voice, the yeah, and he sounds like
I noticed that.
He's like, it's so like Louis Armstrong, and that's so funny to me. Like who can have like a laugh at themselves in that way without it being like offensive or just like childish? You know what I mean? So like,
yeah.
I found it was the perfect way to set the tone. I think I spoke too much. I'm gonna pass the ball back to you. Where should we start with your list?
Okay, I guess where mine started out, the first song I chose, which by a band that were very, very comfortable in that kind of indie scene. So yeah, here's a disclaimer for my list. Mine, I definitely was all about the indie rock and hip hop stuff around that time. Still am, but
sure.
But there was definitely a lot of interesting stuff going on, and something I will kind of delve more into, how I feel like 2012 was kind of like the apex in a way for like indie music really allowed to be indie music, before other stuff I'll get into. But yeah, the song I'm starting off is Heaven by a lovely band called The Walkmen. And
love that song.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, it really is. And okay, the Walkmen, they had been on this in this whole thing for like around 10 years at the time that they released it. In fact, their debut album, the very, very lovely, very abrasive Everyone Who Pretended to Like Me is gone now. That came out back in 2002. Yeah, that came out back in 2002. You might, like, if anyone remembers that song, I'm like, there was this one song called We've Been Had that used to be in like some car commercial. I don't know, it was Mitsubishi or Toyota. It starts with this very kind of dreamy, like piano, and then it just segues into the lead with his very, very abrasive vocals. And that had always been a constant for the band. It's like the guy, he always sounded as if he was completely, I don't want to say, he was somewhat drunk out of his mind. He's at a bar, he's playing with these guys, it's not going well, but he's like trying to like savor as much as he can, and it comes across in so many of their songs. We've been had, They're Winning, The Rats, Red Moon, a song that you might that Breaking Bad fans might have heard. Okay, which makes the Heaven all the more interesting, because with Heaven, that the band was in a kind of a bit of a transition. Okay, so like it's not so much that they're liking their sound. Like they were still the sound wise, it was still very much just kind of kind of abrasive post-punk, but the lyrical content had really changed. Like, whereas with so many of their songs previously, there was this kind of like this sense of anger and desperation and just a feeling of loss. With Heaven, you have a song that really is more about just embracing, hey, we've come a really long way in our lives, and I think, and we're actually in a really cool place. The lyrics are literally, our children will always hear the romantic tales of yesteryear. And if those sound, and it's like, it is just something that's just so optimistic and so like really a sense of like, oh, hey, we've kind of made it in our lives. You know, we're in a better place now than where we started, and we've grown as people. And yeah, you know, yes, there is still that sense of vulnerability when you know, singing, you know, "Don't leave me, you're my best friend." But I think it comes less out of a desperation and more of just an understanding of the good people you have in your lives and wanting to preserve that. And to anyone who feels like listening to the song, you might have heard it before, because it is perhaps more famous, if not infamous, for playing in like the final end credits of the final episode of How I Met Your Mother, which
You don't say.
yeah, a finale that a lot of people really don't like. I My only opinion on it is that and I don't know, he's not here to clarify it, but I definitely remember 2 years, like this year, like in 2012, telling a friend of mine, it's going to end with like Ted still kind of having something for Robin. Like, then she's not the mother, but then it's obviously kind of going to end. Like, we didn't work out, but there's always going to be something between us, you know. And when it actually did, it was like, wow, man, I wish I put money. Yes, yes. I was like, dang, man. I wish I'd like put money on it. I wish I bet money on this.
Honestly, it's like it's a continual lesson of like, don't jump the shark before you save the whale. Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and I had seen. I wasn't like a fan. I wasn't a mega fan, but I'd seen enough episodes where I was like, okay,
oof,
yeah,
hang it up.
Yeah, and this is the only thing I'm gonna say. If this show had lasted 5 seasons, okay, maybe that would have worked. But like 9 seasons, like, okay, come on, man. You know, don't do that, man. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know, it's like it kind of makes sense, but it's like this isn't what the people who stuck around with you wanted for 9 seasons. But you know, but you know, but my TV opinions, that's for another time. But yes, Heaven by the Walkmen, it is a wonderful song. I definitely recommend, you know, playing it at a wedding or something of that nature. I think it's a lovely song.
Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Come on now.
Yes, a lovely song by a lovely band who, you know, and this ended up being kind of their final album before they would end up splitting up, and I think they left on a high note. And so, yeah, so that's it for me with this one, and let's give the baton back to my good man Kris.
Oh, number 2 for me is Fire by Lacuna Coil. Italy Stand Up. Like, y'all don't got a lot of bands, but like, you sure as heck got this one, and like, it's so fascinating having like European metal hard rock bands with like 2 like actual vocalists, because yeah, they have like a man singer and a woman singer, but it's just like they're both doing the same thing and they need one another. And it's not often where like American bands don't do this, like especially in this space of like a heavier sound and such. And I feel like this song in particular, I wish radio rock would go in this way, because it doesn't feel so like, we only play like the heaviest stuff. Like, we really care about rock in this radio station. Now, Imagine Dragons.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't feel like this is posturing. Like, maybe it's a little cheesy, but it's like, you know, like, it's like, get amped up, like get excited. You know, it's like, you know, take control. Like, oh, like there are enemies in front of you, and you're like, nah, like they're gonna, like, you know, what's it called? Quell my fire. It's like it could be a little. It could be a little. You know, like it feels maybe a little silly, but it's like, you know, like it has just enough. You know what I'm saying? Like if you like things like Five Finger Death Punch and new like Third Eye, you know, like 3 Days Grace and stuff like that, this is just for you. But it's like, oh, like I don't listen to bands where the chick is the front singer and stuff like that. It's like, come on, like, and they've been around a long time. They still sound great, and like it's not often we have a band that's been around a long time that doesn't like lose the plot. And like I felt that Lacuna Coil kind of like may have like painted themselves into a corner with like things like Our Truth and things like that, and like Heaven's Alive. But it's like, no, like I think the album was called Dark Adrenaline. Yeah, like it had a lot of good joints on it, like Trip to Darkness and like their cover of Losing My Religion. It's like there's lots of cool stuff here, like this, and it's just across the pond. So like, you know, like give it a shot. Like put this in like your rotation besides instead of Shine Down. Like you'll enjoy it, you know?
Or like I think what rock stations are like into now. Another band, perhaps from Italy, Maneskin, with the begging song. That's a song
you
that
ain't got a lot of representation here, Italy. So like we'll take what we can get. And like I almost feel like I'm not mad at Maneskin for like being the American like top 40 representation, but it's like they're right. Lacuna Coil's right there, and like I feel that every time I get curious enough to listen to like rock radio again, it's all the same. Like say Foo Fighters, they're always gonna play Foo Fighters, but like, is that all you're gonna play? And then maybe some alt. Like here's some real like blood pumping rock right here on Century Media, like a very respected label, mind you, and like you're like, I'll pass.
Like it kind of it kind of reminds me because like last year we did briefly talk about it because like the VMAs, like when the MTV VMAs, which
my god, those nominations were trash.
Yeah, and it was like
new blood.
Foo Fighters. The nominee, it was like Foo Fighters, Lenny Kravitz, and Evanescence, and I'm like,
shade. I was glad to see Evanescence. Let me keep it. Like, Lenny freaking Kravitz, my dude.
And I'm like, I love these guys. I'm like, wow, this is an amazing nomination list for 2003. It's like, this doesn't.
My sister, y'all, what's up?
Yes. Hello, Miss Owens. Miss Owens. Hope we're entertaining you right now. But I love this. I love the song. Cool. I do love that back and forth with the vocalist. That's like, and once again, another constant with your list here is that you picked some bands that are just incredibly in sync, with their instrumentals, with their vocals. Like these are bands that are running like a well-oiled machine, and I feel that with Lacuna Coil. And it's like, man, I need to check this out some more, man. I need to check this out some more. So Lacuna Coil, fire, and the song by all means lives up to its title.
I just wanted to make sure I said these artists by name, like Andre Farrow and Christina Scabbia. They've been in the band since like the 90s. Like Andre was like the vocalist in 1994, and like Christina joined a couple years later. And it's like, come on, like what we don't like bands like and typically like in this progressive, technical, like in this heavier realm, it's often where a band like loses its members, but like we have Lacuna Coil and like freaking Radiohead and like Coldplay of like the bands that like stay together, like the ones who are through thick and thin are the same cats, and that's not a thing. That's not like a thing we can rely upon these days. And so like I really want to like pay credence to that,
them and YouTube, like they're like
exactly.
YouTube's like the prime example of a band that's been going together for pushing on.
Never breaking up.
So and shout out to those guys. So I guess we should
and speaking of like a group that we wished actually did something together, I want to crush a little bit and pass it over to you.
Yes. So once again, I'm headed, and of course, with my list, as much as I need to be faithful to my love for the indie world, I also need to keep it. But I also need to keep it clear. I was also all about the hip hop,
real hip hop.
And 2012 was the year like a lot of people were really, really being put on. It was when a certain gentleman by the name of who I guess we can call Mr. Fenty now was really making his name. And also another crew by the name of Black Hippie, who had already been seeing some mainstream success with J Rock and his mainstream debut album. and they were just about to see their signs improving again with a certain Mr. Kendrick Lamar, who would be releasing a certain album that's now considered a classic in 2012. But the song I really, really was crazy over was Hands on the Wheel by Mr. Schoolboy Q featuring A$AP Rocky.
Shout out to all the Crips.
Yes. And oh my goodness, I remember when this song came out and it was just an absolute, it was just like an absolute blast. I think
gobsmacker.
You know, like the 20, okay, obviously, you know, the 20, you know, hip hop is never going to be lacking for like club songs. And I would say that
tracks.
Yes. And I would say like the club song of 2012 was probably, you know, we talked about it. It was probably, we could agree it was among a lot of stuff, probably Amen by Meek Mill featuring Drake.
Oh, bro.
And that song was nice, but I wasn't feeling I you know, that I was
there.
Yeah, I was not being invited to parties where they were going to play Amen. You know,
we weren't rolling with the OVO crew. Nah.
The OVO, like Drake said, the kind of people he makes music for, and that has never been me. That's, you know, that's all I'm going to say about that. So you know, so you have a song like Hands on the Wheel, which yes, it's amped up, it's for that sense, but there's this griminess to it, and very much and an openness to it. I mean, it's literal. Schoolboy Q and A$AP Rocky are pretty much listing all the illegal drugs they are doing like it's a grocery list, and they are just having so much fun doing that. And I can't really talk about it and not also mention, you know, the fact that they're sampling not the original Pursuit of Happiness, but a cover by you know, wonderful lady whose name escapes me right now. But
look it up.
You know, but yes. In fact, I will.
I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm on it. Already on it. You talking? Okay.
You know, a wonderful lady who did it. Yes. Who?
Lissy. All right, I'll put it in the comments.
Lissy. Okay. You know, who did a lovely cover of Pursuit of Happiness, and you know, she really delivered in that song. So
it brings the energy. Like you hear that clip, and like I have to find the producer for this one song, because like it just like there's this one, like I found this one like tour blog from Kendrick, where he goes to DJ like, yo, play my shit. Oh, that's you playing earlier? Yeah, play my shit. And like he plays like Hands in the Wheel, and Schoolboy comes out in like a puff of smoke, and you see the bucket hats, and everyone is getting their life, and they're just like jumping up and down, and I'm like, yes, this is what I need, you know?
Yeah, and that's the thing, because the thing about the original Pursuit of Happiness is that yes, it is about living this life, but it's also kind of about the bittersweet nature of it. Like you listen to the song and you know it's like Kid Cudi has a very mixed relationship with the fact that this is the life that he's living. You know, it's enjoyable. I mean, it's even there in the video. You know, it's an enjoyable life, but it's somewhat empty. So there's something interesting about so there's something interesting about the fact that you know in sampling that the Schoolboy and A$AP, they're just like, yes, this is the life we are living. It is very dangerous, and we love every single second of it. We love
depravity.
Yes, alcohol, drugs, having
women.
Yes. Any woman who will even give us eye contact, we are in that, man. You know, and they complement each other so much. Like A$AP, A$AP really was in. I will argue, like, you know, I'm not gonna say A$AP fell off. I mean, that's
I would.
but he really was at his best, like 2011 through 2013. That was ASAP. That was ASAP at his best. That was when
he was that pretty motherfucker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I was completely happy. I was completely happy with him being the guy who brought the East Coast back. And he's just, once again, him and Schoolboy are just completely feeding off each other. And I would say, Schoolboy, he would really kind of like get the mainstream attention he would deserve 2 years later, when he would release his
that part.
Yes. No, that part came out in 2016.
Well, that was much later. My bad.
Yeah. I think 2014 he would drop songs like there was Break the Bank, there was Man of the Year, there was Studio, which I didn't really like, but I get it.
I feel like it's like beat is just like, just like, speaking of depravity in a very socio nature, it's like, like you need to like put an X-rated filter on that damn beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It was like, all right, this is, it's a song about, being in the studio and wanted to finish up yourself so you can do certain things. That very much feels like, dude, you guys were obviously in the studio just trying to finish a song so you can go and do certain things. But so it's cool. But yes, Hands on the Wheel. It is like, once again, not to go back to Meek Mill and Drake again. If Amen was the soundtrack to parties that I was never going to get invited to, this was the soundtrack to every party I wish I could have been to, but I don't know. I guess I wasn't that social at 19.
Listen,
but
it's like we at that age we had no business being at any of those parties. But like you already knew, like if you're with the boys and like the games are going, like we're having a nice meal, like we're just like in a huddle. It's like you already know we're just gonna like mosh in the living room and sing, just like repeat the refrain back and forth to one another.
Yes.
All I'll say about Schoolboy Q is this, and it's my favorite couplet of his is in like the Vice City posse cut, where he says, "Got 2 rollies but 1 missing. Think my daughter stole it. She in kindergarten." And like that's all you really need to know, man. You see the bucket hat, you hear the ad libs. Like
yes.
Listen, it's like flex, not the flex.
Yeah,
it's like if you remember like the DNA video where like at the back half where like the camera's moving towards Q and he starts throwing signs and walking toward the camera. Tap in with the big homie when you slide to the west. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, Schoolboy has always been about that.
To TDE for real.
And he completely let me know on this song that I was so fortunate to like listen to.
Hear of like the adventures they were having.
Exactly. So I mean, and in going back and and in passing the ball back to you, Kris, your third song, by a band who I always had a pretty neat fondness for, and I thought I don't know if they will ever be as popular as they were in that time, but
shame.
But I'm glad we got the stuff we got back in the day. So
the band is Neon Trees with their album Everybody Talks. The opening cut, Moving in the Dark, which I never heard before until I started like when I got with my partner. And like they would play this song. I'm like, wait, this song is amazing. Like this, talking about like a song that like gets your night started. It's like, you got your fit on, like you might hit the scene, you might get into your car and zoom off into the night, because like the song has a certain power. And like I want to say that because of bands like Neon Trees, it's the reason why like bands like Måneskin can do what they do, because of like the kind of just like cool attitude that this band had. It's like in like the realm of like Mormon bands who are Mormon, we have the Coin. Yeah. On one side is the folks from Imagine Dragons, but on the other we have the Neon Trees. And it's like they never really had to like they had nothing to prove. Like they came on the scene, this band is cool. Like they have such like an iconic front man who's just like dripping with personality and energy, and it's like, wow, like where are they going? I want to go too, you know? And it's just like this the sing along ability of the type shit. Like it's like what? Whoa, like we gotta go, like we gotta do things. It's just like it makes you want to run, like it makes you want to run at 1,000 miles an hour, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and that was just what was so cool about Neon
They
Trees.
really know how to write a
Is
hook.
yes, yes, they really like. I think the 2000s, you definitely had a lot of and even now you still have a lot of these kind of like 80s revival acts, 80s revival songs,
Yeah, I hate
and
that.
and they're acts they're acts where it feels like, oh, they just want to, rep the 80s because I don't know, they liked listening to Journey that one time. And then they're like acts who, you really did feel this love and fascination for a time that maybe they only really got to experience briefly as children, but like but those songs meant so much to them, and it came from such a special place. And Neon Trees were always the golden example of that. In fact, they even kind of admitted in the song 1983, a song that I absolutely adore,
Strong record. So
Yeah,
good.
so Neon were really, they were really, really, those first three albums,
So good.
that, real, just some
Joints
really
for
outright
days.
brilliant stuff, and
It's like
you
finish,
oh
you
no,
finish,
and if you guys like, to those who probably missed out on Neon Trees, I can't recommend this stuff enough. Like really, it was great stuff, man.
It's like here's a band in the mainstream that does not suck.
Mm-hmm.
Like what killed Neon Trees is that I feel that like the radio industry said, cool, Neon Trees gave us the one single from their album. Kill it. Like put it everywhere often and let's move on with our day. And you can't do that to a band like Neon Trees because when you put on one of their CDs, you're going to get several enjoyable songs you want to hear again in your daily routine. Like, you know the song Your Surrender by this band?
Yes.
How good is that freaking song even now? But you heard it least as opposed to like Animal and such like that. And I love it. And Animal's a good song, but like they really just beat you over the head with that, and you can't let that happen to you with this band because even like their collaboration with like Cascade isn't trash. Like Lessons in Love, that joint is a banger. Okay, like talking about like not cheesy like EDM records that don't get stale when you first hear it.
Absolutely agreed. And I think to a lot of people, when you look back at the early 2010s, they are just gonna kind of talk about, animals and stuff like that, which Animals was nice, it was cool. But yeah, if ever there was a band that really showed that, hey, we're not just like, yeah, sure, we are all about, we wear our love for that era on our wrist, but it's like it's not just
Authentic.
Yes, it really is about like trying to feel those feelings we associate with those songs again now in our modern life. And I think another like kind of like 80s revival act that I think kind of got that I'll be surprised if they didn't tour together. I mean, granted, this person doesn't really please. Probably Lady Hawk. Lady Hawk.
Yeah, and like that's an indie act that like I know by name, but I'm not very familiar with, so I don't think I'll really like dwell on that too much.
Yeah. I'll mention Lady Hawk again when we talk about another artist on your list because because I swear
I think I know who you're talking about too.
Yeah, my same shock in discovering this artists and how they really come off of was, and versus how they were initially presented to me on MTV, it was the same exact situation. It was the same, but I'll talk about Lady Hawk again when we talk about this other artist that's on your list, which I think to anyone listening, you're especially gonna love this artist because they were amazing. But hey, I guess back to my corner, and I guess we can go from one good old pop tune to another good old pop tune that really I will say if you want to talk about like the optimistic vibe summer 2012, you got to talk about So Good by Mr. B.O.B., Mr. Bobby Ray. And man, this was just
Bobby.
Yeah, man. Okay, so context. This is from his sophomore album, Strange Clouds, which was coming right off the success of The Adventures of Bobby Ray, which had so many beloved songs. Yes, a certain song with Bruno Mars that I don't need to mention, but
good.
It's beloved.
So good.
It's beloved. And I know, I remember like years ago I did karaoke with that track. Unfortunately, I lost that video file. Miss Chamai, I don't know if you're watching this right now, but if you are, I know I sent that video to you years ago. Please search for it. But yes, Adventures of Bobby Ray. It had Beautiful Girls. It had Airplanes. A song which needs no introduction. It's a classic. I thought it had the makings of a classic then. I feel like I'm right now. But at the same time, it also had like bar songs. It had Bet I Bust with Playboy Trey and his label,
that other guy,
that I'm not going to mention. And it also had songs like I think I'll Be in the Sky was on that one.
Yeah, that was like in the Who the Fuck Is Bob mixtape.
Okay, but
that's too. I love that song.
It was a lot. And it was songs like that it was songs like that got him a lot of comparisons to Andre 3000, which all right, cool. But also it showed what was really cool about B.O.B. was like, I think when we talk about how much I think us like underground indie guys dislike pop rappers, it's that with like rappers who really want to be cool with the pop audience, there is just this feeling of like just wanting to jack on trends, where it's like less about making quality songs and making, oh hey man, what song am I gonna make that's really gonna get the white people loving my stuff. So yeah. And I think that what I loved about B.O.B. was like, yeah, he was very much on the pop stuff, but I always believed he wanted to make those pop songs. Like, I know, like, I was like, yo, this guy, it wasn't originally supposed to be his song, but I know this guy was psyched to do a song with Haley Williams. Who
wouldn't be? Yeah.
I know this guy wanted to do a song with Rivers Cuomo, and it showed. And so you get to Strange Clouds, which, yes, is very much him kind of trying to repeat what he did on Adventures of Bobby Ray, more or less, do the song, do the bar songs for, us hip hop heads, but also do the pop songs and stuff like that. So you have the song with Taylor Swift, Both of Us, which is clearly supposed to be Airplanes Part 2, but
and there isn't Airplanes Part 2 already.
Yeah, which, once again, Mr. Chamai, I don't think you're listening to this, but I'm going to need your opinion.
We'll make sure that she does
on B.O.B. and Taylor Swift's Both of Us, because that one's a But then you have So Good, which is once again is just
single, I believe.
Yes, pure pop, just pure old pop rap, which I guess in a way, if like both of us was his like Airplane 2, this Airplane 3, yes, Airplane 3. So Good is kind of like his Beautiful Girl sequel to Beautiful Girls, where he's the
Nothing
like
on You Part 2.
yes, yes, where the girl he got with in Beautiful Girls days, hey, they're together now, and he's telling her about, hey, stick with me. I'm gonna take you all of these places. I'm going to take you all of these places. I'm really going to make sure you get the life that you deserve. And
Cruel irony.
Yes, yes, yes. And a certain line in that song that it's not problematic. It's just kind of ironic in light of a path he would go into the future. Spin the globe, but whatever. But once again, it kind of just says what I loved about B.O.B., which was he always, like, yes, even at his, the pop stuff, it never felt like he was so thirsty for chart success. He might have been, but he never showed it. He came off as a guy.
Album.
Yes, he came off as a guy who, he wanted to rap, he wanted to sing, he wanted to
have that duality.
Yeah, and I felt it showed. And I remember when I first heard it, it's just like, wow, man, this is the song, and this is a very much a constant with songs I put on this list. This is a song that represents what life can be, what life can be, what hopefully the future will be. I mean, and I guess
restore the feeling.
Yeah, and I guess I guess comparisons, it's like his former boss did kind of do a similar song like this back in 2008 or 9. You Can Have Whatever You Like, but once again, but once again,
Weird Al did it better.
Yeah, B.O.B. did it way better. And once again, the difference between someone who feels thirsty for chart success and did get it, unfortunately, versus someone who actually like really sounds like, oh wow, yeah, I want you to live this amazing life. And you listen to it and you think, wow, I want to share this with someone. I want to, the person I would like to spend my life with, yes, I would love to give you this amazing life, and once again, another song, consider playing it at your future weddings, guys. This one, it's
not
lovely.
Wrong about that.
No, it's lovely. But yes, going back to you.
Man, like, so I'll set the tone, because like, we had our long conversation late one night about doing this stream, and we talked about B.O.B. at length, because like, we thought B.O.B. was going to be the guy. In the same way that like Gambino became the guy for guys like us, in the same way that Tyler became the guy for guys like us, we thought, oh, B.O.B., he's the one. You know what I'm saying? Here's a guy who can rap, who can sing, who can play guitar, like actually play guitar. No shade to Lil Wayne. But like, I wonder what really led him to this like path of being a flat earther. And like, we're talking about Flatline, and I'm like, let me go listen to that song again, because I don't think I ever heard it, or it's been a long since I heard it. And like, looking it up, because I'm trying to find the right version of the song, like looking at like a brief overview of the song, including the words Holocaust denier, I'm like, oh, we're not touching that with a 50-foot pole. No, sir. Yeah. It's like, to like go down the path of conspiracy can be dangerous for not necessarily yourself, but for other people who are also marginalized. And so I don't appreciate B.O.B. doing that shit. Because like, you can make songs like Good Nigger Sticker and shit like that if you really want to. But like, and you like, if you've seen like his whole discog since like 2012, he's consistently putting out shit. But like, I don't know if I can even trust it. The content. Yeah. If like you're on like this, if you're on like a wave that like makes me uncomfortable or other people uncomfortable. So like, just like a word to the wise, I guess. Like if you're gonna like, if you want to like consider like a hypothesis or like idea that's like like a little bit risque. Like, think about what that really means for you. Okay, can we just like at least do that?
Yeah, and the last thing I want to add about that was like I remember when that happened. I remember when the whole flatline thing happened. Yes, Mr. Mai, so glad to have you, so glad to have you. And but yeah, I remember when the whole flatline thing happened because not only did he diss our then president, he also dissed Neil deGrasse Tyson,
Who's
and
also a controversial figure now, if we really think about
yeah,
it.
yeah, which I'm not gonna go into that, but and then Neil's nephew replied back
Flat to
with
back.
yes, and and then
Flat to
Neil
fact.
actually went on the nightly show, a den following to the Daily Show, to like also diss him, and it was just like I can't. There's
This is
no
not the
way.
way.
Yeah, there's no way to tell this to anyone and they don't think that I'm lying, but that was where we were in 2016, among a lot of other bad things that happened in 2016 that don't need to go into. But yes, but then heading back to you and your next song on your list, that feel free to introduce.
Where Two Bodies Lie by Moving Mountains. This is the acoustic version of the song.
Mm-hmm.
In 2012, I'm working at Banners, Hallmark, and Lake Forest Mall.
Mm-hmm.
Just think about that for a minute there, huh? And so I have the opportunity, the privilege from my manager to make CDs for the store, to play over the loudspeakers.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, this was probably not the best choice that I made when I made it, but I'm like, I want to listen to songs that don't like a bit are like a pain to listen to. I can only listen to like Vacation All I Ever Wanted so many times in retail, but it's like, oh, let's put some post rock on here. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the kind of stuff that really like gets my blood pumping. So like this song is can be a little somber,
mm-hmm.
a little emotional, but it's just like the back half of the song is like, I'm like, you mean everything to me, but I'm afraid of dying and stuff like that. And then you have like cards in the store about like, sorry for your loss, or like happy birthday, or like I love you and things like that. I'm like, oh, this would be perfect. But like there are complaints from the customers because a lot of the songs are in that very like somber, truly emotional space. I had some like Frank Turner on there. I had like Among Savages, like a whole bunch of other like this like indie like sad man stuff. But like Move Mal was just one of those bands in like that Warped Tour audio tree space that like really meant something to me. It's like, oh, like we can make rock music like like emotionally potent without being like because like like you make like emo songs, like you have like a band like Blue October, or even like I don't know, like like From First to Last, and like you get like typecasted when you like listen to that kind of stuff. But Move Now, it's like, yeah, like I like drink artisanal beer, but like I can play like a 7-string guitar, like I wanted to like assert myself musically with an act like this. And like Move Mal's not around anymore, but like I want like, oh, here's a cool band that like get overshadowed by the Usher song by the same name, so it's like a little cruel irony, but like here's this like here's the song you can learn. Maybe you should learn this song on guitar before you learn Wonderwall. That's all I'm trying to say with a song like this. What did you think about it when you heard it?
Once again, I was listening to this and I'm like, I definitely see why this appealed to you. Once again, just another band that really were putting their effort into things, and like you could tell, like once again, like chemistry within members, making sure that like they were pretty much on the musical equivalent of finishing each other's sentences at this point. And I love it. And and I love the fact that there is this band that, yes, they want to kind of go in and out of a direction, but they're completely on like supporting each other's backs in terms of making sure that this works. Because I think there is that danger that when you try to be experimental, that there's always that one person who wants it a bit more than the others do, and unfortunately, and that really can mess up a lot of bands. And I didn't feel that. I mean, I can definitely understand why the retail customer audience would not have been all that psyched about it, but unfortunately, when it comes to like sad guy indie rock, if it's not Dead Cab for Cutie, they pretty much tell you to GTF.
You know what's so funny? Because like, Jasper and I went to like the Rite Aid and whatever, and like when we're at the register, you'll never guess a place. Like, I will follow you into the dark.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're playing this song every day. Okay, and no shade, because like that's a good song, but it's like, oh my god, like
no, I remember I wasn't at a Rite Aid. I think I was at like a Wise back when Wise still existed in
I know what you're talking about.
My former neighborhood, and I was like, man, you're just trying to remind people of how sad it is that they're at a Wise supermarket at 9 o'clock in the night, man. Jeez, but
read the room, huh?
Yeah. Like, okay, like, all right. I know a subliminal. I know a subliminal when I hear it.
Hey, speaking of subliminals, like, let's bring the mood up with your next selection, shall we?
Yes. And once again, me kick it. Okay, once again, we kind of holding out for rap into 2012. Okay, and a guy who I absolutely wish got his flowers, and in a way, I think he kind of
still getting his flowers.
Look, maybe.
Can I rant for a few moments?
Yeah.
It is a goddamn shame that young Krizzle, Big Crit, is still paying his dues after all this fucking time. Yeah. The fact that this man is not held in the same regard as a Cole, as a Kendrick, as like, I don't know, like fucking Logic.
Yes, and
disgraceful.
And I'm glad you mentioned Cole. Because I was gonna say, in the late 2000s, early 2010s, you do have these wave of rappers, all kind of clearly like influenced by Kanye West in some way, who are like, hey, I can drop bangers, I can be introspective, I can give you social commentary, and yes, it's J. Cole, it's Wale, it's Kendrick, but the guy who was always he was always the diamond in the rough, the guy who, as soon as I heard his first song, I was like, all right, this is how I know that hip hop is going to like really be shining in 2010s. Mississippi's own Big Crit. And Crit is, but especially in that early era, like he's
a rapper. Like,
yeah,
him, Crit, Cole, and Kendrick, they're like the three kings, if you ask me. And like they all went their own paths, and like, son, like if you listen to like Southern rap and listen to Crit, you're questionable to me. You're sus. Like.
Yeah, and and he came at a time when there was that stigma of on Southern rappers, like okay, can't whatever you talk about your cars and your stuff like that, but you guys can't like really
do you have 12 cars like 21 Savage?
Yeah. It's like, it's just like, whatever. But he Crit was a guy who, yes, I'm all about that Southern stuff. I'm all about that. But I will throw down on a track, man, and you will how dare you doubt me? And and he had so many, and I remember like 2011, like songs like Dreamin' and Some Days, which once again, songs about very introspective about his struggles coming in, and like how much he had to deal with an industry that didn't really believe in him, and how he was pretty much betting on every step of the way has been him betting on himself. Agreed. Which is why I absolutely love Forever in a Day, because it is that it is that same sense of like personal introspection, but in a song that's just an absolute banger. I'm like, man, this is
So cool.
this is just amazing. I mean, grind isn't, grind is enough. You got mix it with a letter, all that. What can I say? Forever in a day, and he just keeps on like really, really like really driving it, man. And like and that's just what's so great about Crit. Like he is very unapologetically him. He will not sacrifice like, that personal connection in his song. And okay, yes. In 2012, he's also doing, the club, he's also doing the club songs,
Money on the Floor.
Money on the Floor. I think like this is also the same year his collaboration with Ludacris happened. What you mean you ain't nasty, which it was cool. It's cool. I get it. Those are the songs you kind of have to make in this biz. But the song that really, where if you really want to know, like not just what he meant to like hip hop in those early 2010s and why he was such a great voice to have, like, it's songs like Forever in a Day, which has a really cool video that's kind of like that conjures up memory of Kanye West's Good Life, yes. And it's, and I remember hearing this song, and as I was dealing with my own situation with, the early days of community college life, which was very easy to get lost in. And I needed songs like this to really kind of
it'll all pay off one day type shit.
Exactly. And Crit is just like, Crit, that man's always gonna be in my good graces. And yeah, it's always kind of gonna break my heart that, the same reference we give to, like, Drake, Drake, who we now have to, for better or for worse, really kind of call the goat of the decade, if not of all time, which not going to get into that. Not gonna get into that. But I mean, okay, Drake's Drake, Kendrick, who very much deserves, very much, but man,
the everlasting underdog, Jesus Christ, right?
Yeah, there definitely a space. There definitely should be a space for someone like for Crit, the king remembered in time, and yes, and with songs like this, you will always be a king to me. Shout out to Mississippi, man. You guys gave us an amazing guy,
a legend. You gave us a legend. You might say that like Crit's still not like receiving the credit that he's deserved his whole career. Is a little heartbreaking.
Indeed.
The next song on my list is "How to Be a Heartbreaker" by Marina, formerly known as Marina and the Diamonds. I really wish you didn't have to change your name, Miss Ma'am, because like I thought it was so cool. Like maybe I think here's my conspiracy on that. Here's like a little lighthearted conspiracy. Okay. We have Florence Welch, Florence and the Machine. It worked out for her. Like, and so I imagine maybe it's kind of like how a lot of like scene bands are like verb the noun with their names and shit like that. Perhaps maybe that kind of like the Marina and the Diamonds thing, kind of like, because there are a lot of indie bands with like such and such and the such and such, like Noah and the Whale and like Tao and the Get Down and stuff like that. So I imagine it was that, but like I don't like single name artists unless like your name is explicitly stands out. And unfortunately Marina's named after like a body of water, and so like you have to like already know her stuff and like her stuff to know who we're talking about. Miss Marina Diamandis. And like before, like when I first heard this album about Prima Donna, I'm like, oh, like I didn't like, oh, she's gonna go mainstream, this is so terrible. Like I like the quirky indie pop stuff from the first project, but in hindsight, let's see, like, okay, so someone else, thank you, V. But like, after 10 years after the fact, and I'm not saying Maria, I'm saying here, I'm gonna type it in there. because people may not be understanding what I'm saying. See, and like V is like, wait, what Maria are you talking about? No, I'm talking about Marina. Okay, and like I felt the way I felt about like her going electropop, but like the songs hold up after all this time, and like whether you like a pop song or not, if you like you hear it, you don't like it, and then like you get away from it, you hear it again, it's like, oh, like hey, this sounds still solid. There's a foundation here. Like there's a sincere difference, and you're fine. It's okay. I promise.
Yeah.
And I also want to mention this. See? Well, you don't really meet a lot of Marinas, but like you hear, you have a certain association with the word when you hear the word, you know? But it's like, you hear how to hear be a hot, like, okay, like, not to snitch on myself, but like, I'm a simp. And like, when I hear, I hear a woman saying, here's how you break a dude's heart. And I'm like, I'm listening. You know what I'm saying? It's like, break my heart. I'm here for this. This is exactly what I want. And just like the cute little, at least I think I do. It's like, how could you not be enamored by that? Like she has like the heart on her cheek, and like she has like the, you know, she has like the half naked hot dudes in the video, like the Grimes video. But it's like it's very like tongue in cheek, and it doesn't feel. Bro, you really are like, that's exactly who we're talking about.
Yes, Marina Diamonds.
It's like, and you see the impact just off our streaming audience right here. Like this, and you'll see in the description, if you like look into the description of the stream, the reason Alora and I are here right now is because of The Ringer. And every person on that podcast had like this specific set of songs. And one of the younger people on that podcast had this song on here, and it's like, damn, this song is like it's like it's a very cookie cutter formula, but when it works, right?
Yeah. And okay, and when I went on my rant about like how like MTV tends to introduce certain artists to me, because you know I used to like be a huge faithful MTVU fan, which was like all about, you know, appealing to the college listeners and stuff like that. And I obviously don't watch that channel anymore because, well, for one thing, I no longer have a cable service that provides it. But you know,
we have TikTok now. We don't need MTV.
That and you know what was considered hip for college audiences in the late 2000s to like
drastically different
is way different now. And
now
you know,
it's like KEXP.
So that was originally how I found out about Marina and the Diamonds. So I remember, and this is actually very similar to how I found out about Lady Hawk. Like they used to do this thing where they were like, you know, ahead of the curve artists performing their songs, but it was always these like stripped down versions.
I remember that. Yeah, they had Cole, they had Chitty Bang, they had Mac, they had Theophilus London.
Yes. Shout out to Theophilus. Hey! You know, another legend of the 2010s that who should have gotten bigger than they did. But my
gosh,
you know. And I remember like when Marina and the Diamonds and I think she was performing "I'm Not a Robot," and it was just like, oh, okay.
On iTunes. That song is still so good.
Yeah, and I was just like, all right, okay, you know, I feel this, you know, it's very, you know, she has some pretty neat vocals, and she's delivering. I'm like, okay, I'm guessing this is more kind of it's synthy, but I'm guessing it's kind of folksy. But then I actually listened to the song, and much like the same feeling I got with Lady Hawk, Another Runaway, when she performed a stripped down acoustic version, it's like, oh, so that MTV ahead of the curve performance was just a complete lie, and you like all about the synths, you're all about the drama, like, all right. I can rock with this. And yeah, and it's like, and yeah. So when Heartbreaker came out, it was like, I was like, well, Gee, I'm glad you've like made it really clear what the game is because I am completely enamored. Because I am completely enamored.
It
Because
worked.
it's like, how can you not? It's like it is impossible to not to not feel like something towards Marina, not just, obviously not just, the look, but just her overall, just the personality she always delivered with
You
these
bubblegum
songs,
bitch. Like,
you know, it's like,
come on, man.
yeah, it's like, it's like, and yeah, and much like you, I also miss D Diamond. I mean, I thought it did a
It was a
great job.
cool name. Oh,
Yeah, it
gosh
was.
darn it.
Yeah, it really did a great job in like showing the kind of glamorous nature you should expect from someone like her. And really, and she's and yeah, she like Marina is like, and I would say like Marina, she kind of comes in the same scene as like the Lana, you know. Yes, it is
Ooh,
very
yeah, I definitely would. I definitely would like put her in like the freshman class of singers like Alana Del Rey
yes,
and
yes,
like maybe
yes.
like tennis and stuff like that.
Yes, and artists who I would say, thankfully were kind of able to easily outgrow that kind of like hipster sub audience beginnings and really kind of become names, beloved names in their own right. Maybe not as much as Lana Del Rey, because like Lana Del Rey,
She
like
was out of here after that first album.
yeah,
Pew,
yeah,
to the
yeah,
top.
like I'll say, the very first time I ever heard of Lana Del Rey, once again watching MTVU, it's like I saw video games.
Money is the anthem.
Yes, and then the next video I saw was a song by Mickey Avalon, and that is the only time you will
Wow.
ever put Lana Del Rey and Mickey Avalon in the same kind of existence ever. So and I would like to think that maybe she's not on that same bigness that Lana is, but like
She just dropped a year ago.
yeah. But I feel like Marina is at that point where, it's like put some respect on her name, man.
1000%.
By all means, by all means. But yeah,
Hey, quick temperature check.
uh-huh.
It's like 7:50 EST. And like I'm thinking, oh, we can knock this out in an hour and a half, no problem. But like as it appears, once again, I was wrong. Looks like we'll have to come back sooner in the month to do a part 2. But before we finish, because my life counter has 116, I think we can go in on like your last minute contribution to your half of the playlist. Losing You by Solange, a
Okay.
motherfucking
And
classic.
thank you.
Go in, sir.
Thank
Go
you,
in.
thank you. And all right, Losing You, Salon. And this was a song that I put in like last minute, and I'm so glad that I did. I'm so glad that I did because I was I was somewhat frustrated with how like my list didn't have enough female voices. And if I really want to talk about a song that I was definitely bumping back in 2012 and I absolutely love, I have to talk about this song. A song by an artist who I'm going to try very hard to not mention the elephant in the room.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. But an artist who I am just so glad has been able to have the success and the notoriety that they deserve, because I remember when they dropped their sophomore album, I believe it was Soul Angels and the Choir, something.
Is that the one with I Decided?
Yes, and
That's
Tony. Yeah, and Tony, the video where like Kid Cudi was playing her boyfriend,
Oh wow.
And I was just remember like, yo, Solange, she is like, and it's not just even that she has like a great voice, which she does, but just okay, she clearly has a really brilliant imagination for where she wants to take her music for.
Yes, the videos are so great.
Yes, and I'm just so glad that like it's like years later it's truly been appreciated, which is what really made me so psyched when Losing You came out, an EP she did in collaboration with the wonderful Dev Hines,
The
who we know,
God,
Mr. Blood Orange,
the God.
another guy who like I am truly happy he's been able to have his success. And I remember
Light
like
speed champion, motherfucker.
yes, and I remember when his first album came out. I was like, all right, this guy's cool. This guy's cool. I
Such
hope
a
I hear more
wonderful
from him.
writer.
And this will and Losing You. It comes out the same year. He also does the track with Sky Fiera. Everything is embarrassing.
Oh my God, that's okay. Snitching on myself.
That's
going in my honorary mention. That's mine.
Yes, we have to talk.
Oh my God, that song is so good.
And
don't let me. Go on.
I will contend that he truly came to his own as an artist, like not just a great songwriter, but a great songwriter and singer with Cupid Deluxe.
So much.
Absolutely. Like that is that. But yeah, you get Losing You, which very much feels like a song that Dev would write. And from what I have heard, it was a song. Both this and Everything Is Embarrassing were songs he wrote about breakups with the same woman, with the same person. Yeah, apparently. So I'll send you a link to the interview. I don't even know.
Yeah, do that.
But to the person who inspired both of these songs, I'm like, hey, yeah.
Thanks, I guess. Oh my God.
Yeah, thanks. But yeah, Solange just delivers this brilliant energy to that song, and she just shows she was completely game. She was completely game for anything that Dev was willing to throw at her, and she was not only going to catch everything he threw at her, but she was going to throw it right back, because I love and I love Everything Is Embarrassing, but there definitely is something you get with Losing You that you can only get from Solange.
Yes, I completely agree.
And I think it's she's just she was a pretty experienced singer. Once again, not mentioning the elephant in the room, but and
just focus on the fact that this is at this point in her career, she's 3 albums deep. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I guess because there was like a part 1 and part 2, right? Oh no, I'm sorry. 2 albums deep. I'm so sorry, because
yes.
When you go to like Spotify, like you see like the instrumental version of Soul Angel, and so I'm like, wait, is that another album? Like, no, it's not.
Yeah, and this was an EP. And this is a song that had 4 years later she not have dropped Cranes in the Sky and Seat at the Table, I would have been confident in saying, okay, this is her signature. This is the signature song. This is the song
that new wave funk. Sorry, Calvin Harris.
Yes, that really that we'll be playing. And it shows, because there is yes. Thank you for being here. But yeah, there is that funk. There is that very imaginative beat. Often definitely pulled from African genres and various rhythms that doesn't sound like it should work well with 80 synths. But once again, shout out to Dev Hines and the mind that he is on, man. And it's truly, and it's and it's just one of those songs that as sad as it is, there's just so much life. There's just so much life in it, and I don't know, maybe it's part of the message that heartache and heartbreak are just natural parts of life. And maybe it's just once again the energy that Solange brings to it, and just how she's always been this incredibly dynamic singer And thank goodness, you know, in 2022, 2022, it's fully understood and appreciated, you know, with how amazing she truly is. And you know, I'm you know, I absolutely loved this song when it came out. I'm so glad, and I'm you know, and like as confident as I would have been that this was going to be her signature song, I'm kind of glad it didn't become it, because it just shows how much she's gone on to be appreciated in this time. You know, that's, you know,
I'm
that's,
thankful for that. I'm relieved.
yeah,
Yeah, like
no,
it feels like because like with Crane in the, I was mentioning on our phone call, I
yeah,
called Cranes in the Sky a new Negro spiritual, and so I
uh,
feel like with losing you, that's for like the inner circle. Like if you were a
yeah,
nerd digging for like that next new big thing on like the semi underground level, you found this song. First, I'm like, oh, this song's mid. I'm not sure if I like this or not, but like use the line like, oh, like I understand now. Like this is what this is for, you know? And it's like I can't wait to like go to like a day party or like, you know, like I just started playing Haze on the Switch and you get to go into Elysium. And I'm like, if Elysium was real and like I die and go to heaven, Solange will be there playing this song to all like the Olympian gods. You know what I'm saying? Like this because like oftentimes when like you're on the outside of like cool black stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like this is a song where like we all like every African American of all walks of life gets to enjoy this song together. Because sometimes like it's like you and I like aren't throwing stacks at the booty club listening to City Girls, you know? And
yeah,
like half like I'm happy for you if you are doing that. Most
yeah,
likely
yeah,
Aramide and I are here like at my place playing Minecraft, listening to like, I don't know, like spelling. You know what I'm saying? Both are cool, but not often do those places interact. But like, say, if we're going to like my aunt's function, I can put this on, and all of her friends will enjoy this, and all of like the Gen Zers will be like, ooh, you know what I'm saying? They do TikTok dances to it. You know what I'm saying? This
yes,
song
yeah,
brings people together, and so that's what I love about this song so much. Is what I love about music so much. You know, while we've been sitting here, I've had like this kind of crazy idea that I'm gonna like throw your way after we're done recording. But like,
yep,
this is part one, the 12 for 12, a Ken Mide presentation. Like it's kind of like a flip of both of our names together. I hope you liked that. You can find me and my good friend Arkentel on the internet all over the place. We're literally everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. This is that part of the show where I do all of like the calls to action, I guess, like this, please leave a comment, please interact. I've had a bunch of stuff in my back catalog. Living Abstractions channel is in the description.
yes,
You can
yes,
leave a nice
yes,
comment about like his first ever mini video essay. Like
yes,
y'all
yes,
motherfuckers aren't ready for my friend when he comes out of college. I'm just letting y'all know right now. Hollywood, get ready. Tyler Perry, get my man's phone number. Donald Glover, where you at, baby? Looking forward to season 3 of Atlanta. Okay. Anything
yes.
for you, sir, before we get out of here?
Yeah, and hey, once again, thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who's been Thank you to everyone who's been listening. And you know, once again, it's always an honor to be, you know, with my good friend Kris. You know, he's consistently delivering. You know, with these videos. You know, really just honest videos where he talks about his relationship with music. And that's where it's at. And I am just so fortunate that he brought me on. I look forward to coming back in more times in the future. And yeah, you know, and yes, you know, I have my new development channel. Just you know, I just did a video about a certain Christmas movie that I loved years back, and I am in the process of doing some more videos, and hopefully I don't know when we're gonna come back for part two. Maybe, you know, but when we do, I will have some more stuff to show because there's some really cool stuff that I plan on sharing with you guys in the future. And you know, it's, you know, all being kind of being part of this beautiful collective. But I'm happy for everyone who's been listening, everyone who's been commented. Shout out. Shout out to Chris's lovely sister. Shout out to V. Shout out to Miss Chamai. I would, when we do part 2, I'm definitely gonna like ask you for your opinion on that other B.O.B. song we were talking about. So,
oh yeah.
but it's been great being here. I look forward to doing this again.
So as always, when I do these streams, a quick reminder to all who are listening. Sorry to like remind you, it's a pandemic, so please wear your mask, and when you wear it, put it over your nose and under your mouth. If you put it under your nose, it doesn't fucking work. Sorry if you need to be reminded, but just on the bus today, some folks are on the bus, no face mask in sight. We don't have to have a vaccine conversation if you don't want to, so be it. But oh my God, please wear your face covering correctly. Thank you. Also, drink more water. Water is good for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you know what I'm saying? Black lives matter. Mm-hmm. Queer lives matter. Mm-hmm. Give yourself the space to like witness a miracle. That's what my mom says in her voicemail when I call her sometimes. I probably should give her a call. So stay tuned for part 2. It may be arriving sooner than you think. Sorry that the playlist is on Spotify, but like that's where we're at right now. It can always change unless Daniel Ek wants to pay artists. Not likely. Screw that guy. Thank you so much for listening. Like, please know that like you are loved. We love you. Give yourself a little more space, and we'll see you again soon. Aylor, please say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you guys a bunch.